Okay, so it looks like the yogurt's done. Let's go ahead and turn that off. I'm going to turn the power off on this. The alarm that's telling me that it's 185 degrees. Now, one of the things the reasons why I use the second thermometer is that this actually lags about 2 to 3 degrees behind, and I find this to be the more accurate um, thermometer. So I go ahead and use that as well. But we'll go ahead and take this out. Well, no, actually we're going to leave this in. And we're going to let this cool down. And just to kind of give me a reminder, I'm going to go ahead and set the timer. Probably for about, takes about 45 minutes for it to cool down. So I'm going to set it for 45 minutes and let it tell me. Okay, now while that's cooling down, I'm going to take just a few minutes and explain a little bit about the whole yogurt process, why yogurt, homemade yogurt, why it's better for you than getting it store-bought. So first of all, one of the reasons why everybody needs yogurt, and you know, there's a lot of controversy. A lot of people go, well, you know, I'm lactose intolerant, I'm not supposed to drink milk products, so I can't do yogurt. But the reality is that once you've killed off all of the bad bacteria by pasteurizing your milk, you are now reintroducing, once it reaches that 110 to 115 degree range, reintroducing new cultures and new bacteria, the good bacteria, or flora and fauna as it's often called, and you're reintroducing those, and those are what you're going to be able to take into your body. These are the things that help us digest our food. They actually, once those grow, the reason why you know, a lot of people have what's called candida infection or yeast infections, and those infections are actually the bad bacteria which overrun our body. Okay, and when you have to have some counter to that. The food that the candida likes is sugar. So the more sugar, the more carbs that you eat, because your body's really good at turning carbs into sugar, and then excess sugar into fat. But you want to make sure that you're getting less of that sugar, because that's what the candida feeds on. But you know, one of the things that the yogurt is good for is it counters all of the effects of that candida and other bad cultures that are in there. Those cultures are what make you sick. When you have when you're overrun with those type, you're more likely to get some sort of illness, whether it's a flu, a cold, or some other sort of illness. So in this batch of yogurt is what's called probiotics. Those probiotics are the good bacteria, and those probiotics have as their food that they enjoy things like the green leafy vegetables, onions, garlic, bananas, cinnamon, ginger. I mean, those are some of the foods, just a few of the foods that the good bacteria likes. So you've heard of acidophilus. I know that you know, when you have a yeast infection and the doctor says, well, hey, go down, or someone tells you, or you're reading in a book or on the internet, says, now go down to the local store and get the acidophilus laden yogurt, because that's what's good for you. That's the culture, that's one of the cultures that you're actually getting and putting back into your body that's going to help make you healthy. Now I'm going to tell you just a little bit about your digestive system. Now, a lot of times we take things into our body that maybe don't give us the greatest amount of nutrition. But sometimes we take a lot of good, very nutrition-laden food into our system, and we still don't feel that much better. And the reason is because you need more of the good bacteria, and that's in your GI tract, or gastrointestinal tract. And when it goes through your tract, it actually allows for the absorption of the nutrients that you need. So the more of the probiotics that you get, the more absorption of the nutrients that you need, the healthier you are. So if you're getting what are called the prebiotics, or the food for the probiotics, and you get enough of those, you're going to help the flora, the good flora and fauna, flourish and proliferate in your body. And that's really the goal. So, you know, people ask, you know, what makes your yogurt starter superior? It's because it has more probiotics than just about any other starter that you can get. Okay, I actually have a yogurt base that I got, and then I actually I put more probiotics, live cultures, that I add to it so that there are millions and millions of colony forming units is what they're called when you're referring to probiotics. When it gets cold, when it gets to the right temperature, I usually like to be about 120 degrees. And you'll notice that, you know, originally these are frozen. They're in a specific shape, and I'm letting them thaw out now. So that, and once this gets to about 120 degrees, I'm going to take a little bit out, and I'm going to mix this in, and that's going to cool down that the temperature to the point where once I dump it back in, that's going to be in that 110 to 115 range. And you really don't want it to go down below there. And then we're going to start to put it in the jars that I use, and we'll put it in the oven. We'll get to that a little bit later. And for right now, we're going to let this batch cool down, and I'll talk to you in a few. Looks like it's now cooled down. Zoom in here, check the temperature here, and it looks like the temperature is 105, 110. And so it's perfect. It's just the temperature we want it to be. You can see that little blue mark right there. We're looking at the red, that's the Fahrenheit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the temperature thermometers out, and I'm going to take just a little bit. Do it this way. I'll pour a little bit in there. Okay. And I'm going to take my culture, and I'm just going to mix it in. Okay. Remember, this is 4 ounces of culture or yogurt starter for 1 gallon. And that way you're going to get enough of a head start for the cultures that you're... Good, and now I mix these up very nicely in here. And we're just going to, we really want to get it mixed up good. And then once that's mixed up, we go and pour this back in. Okay. And we'll go ahead and stir. Okay. And now we'll go ahead and we'll take this and we're going to carry it back over to our counter.